What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. The Detroit Pistons got jumped on pretty well last night in their fourth preseason game of the year. They lost by a score of 93 to 111 to the Golden State Warriors. In this video, we're going to go through a few individual performances that did stand out a bit and just kind of recap the game and talk overall about the team. Before we get into it, quick heads up. Yes, I know I'm not at my normal setup here. The audio quality and video quality might not be as good as it normally is. This will not be very long and is only a temporary setup as I am on the road this week. So, to kind of hop things into it first, the first player I want to talk about is going to be Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren finished with 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists, but most importantly, he did have 3 blocks last night. Jalen Duren's defense was something that a lot of fans and people within the Piston circles did question coming into this season. And last night, things looked really good. Not only did he have those 3 blocks, there was another play where he went vertical against, I believe, Jackson Davis and contested a shot in a way that looked really, really good, especially something compared to last year where it was something like that we did not see all that often. So overall, despite the losing and the fact that we got kind of smacked around last night, I thought Jalen Duren played a pretty good game on both sides of the floor. So overall, did want to give him some credit there. So moving on here to Ron Holland. Ron Holland, more of the same. Exactly what we saw in the first couple of games out of Ron Holland. Just straight energy and compete level. Ron Holland had one play last night where the Warriors went for a dribble handoff way 30 feet away from the basket, up by the hash mark, and he absolutely blew it up. And then he took the on ball assignment. The opposing offensive player tried to drive on him, and then he swiped it away. It bounced off the Warriors player's leg and going the other way, forced a turnover. There was a lot of really good stuff like that throughout the night from Holland, and his energy level and compete level did not seem to deter at all, despite the fact that we were down by 20 plus at some points. He was playing exactly the same way that he had played in all the other preseason games, which was encouraging to see. So moving on here now to Jaden Ivy. Jaden Ivy had an okay enough game to give him some credit here. He finished with 19 points and 4 assists. He was 3 of 5 from the 3-point line, and I really did want to highlight that because not only is his shot starting to look really, really good, especially compared to last year, he was the only player on the Pistons team that could buy a bucket last night. At one point in time, we were something like 3 of 15 or 3 of 16 as a team from the 3-point line. And at that point in time, Jaden Ivey was the only player on the Pistons that had made a 3. All 3 of those makes for the team were his. So did want to give him some credit because his shot was the only player on the team last night whose was consistently falling. So to kind of talk about the game as an overall whole, it obviously wasn't very good as far as the scoreboard goes, but I think there was a few good takeaways to be found within this blowout. Number one, the team really didn't lose their composure despite being down by as much as they were. They were playing with high energy defense throughout most of the night, despite being down by 20 points at sometimes. And a lot of the reason why they were losing was mostly just due to the fact that the Warriors could not miss. There was a point in time when we were like 2 of 12 from 3 and they were 11 of 14 from 3 or something like that, and the Warriors just really couldn't miss. It was simple as that. There wasn't that many wide open threes that they were just making. There was a couple deep ones from Buddy Hield that went in. There was just a lot of threes that went in on their end. They actually finished as a team from 3-point percentage 18 of 39, but most of those misses came in the second half when the game was already completely over with. So a lot of the reason why the scoreboard was what it was due to those 3-pointers. But there was some other stuff in there that was not ideal. There was a couple bad sloppy turnovers from a few different players on the team. Cade finished with 3 turnovers. Ivy finished with 4 turnovers. As a team, we had 15, but it really did feel like a lot of those turnovers did come in the start of the game when things were really crucial and the score was still yet to be decided. So definitely do want to clean that up going into the regular season. Towards the end of the game, with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Pistons had called, I think, back-to-back timeouts, and I wasn't able to get a good look at it whatsoever, what was going on. But the announcers from the Warriors broadcast kept talking about JB Bickerstaff having an animated conversation with the team. We were down like 18, 19 points at this point in time. There was 6 minutes left in the game, and of course, the game wasn't broadcasted on Bally Sports Detroit, so we were watching the Warriors broadcast, and they had the camera panned onto Brandon Pods, and they didn't really show us what was going on within the Pistons huddle at all, but they did reiterate a couple times that it sounded like JB did give them a good chewing session. So, not really all too sure what that was about because personally, myself, I felt like the defensive intensity was still pretty well there despite being down by like 20 points. I felt like a lot of the reason why they were down by as much as they were throughout this game was just due to turnovers and then 3-point shooting because theirs were falling and ours weren't. And we even got good looks. I mean, a lot of it was the guys we wanted shooting the ball, and just happening to miss. Malik Beasley finishes 0 for 5 from 3, 1 of 9 from the field. Simone Fontecchio, 1 of 4, all on three pointers. Tim Hardaway Jr., 0 of 4, 0 of 3 on three pointers. Tobias Harris, 3 of 9, 0 of 3 on three pointers. So, in my eyes, I felt like the intensity and the compete level, all that type of stuff, was pretty much where it needed to be. But the shooting and the turnovers just kind of caught up to them and caught up to them early. So outside of that, don't really have too much else to say about this game. The Pistons played 18 guys. I didn't even really realize that was a thing you could do in a preseason game. I know in the regular season, your official roster cannot be that deep. So it was kind of surprising to see 18 guys get minutes for the Pistons tonight. By the end of the game, a lot of the guys who were on training camp deals like Tolo Smith and a few of those other dudes like Estrada, McCoy were all getting some burn. So by the end of the game, was definitely a few guys out there who probably won't be a part of the roster going forward. It was pretty easy to check out at that point, but will be interesting to see how things play out for this last preseason game. We've got one more on the schedule. It'll be Wednesday against the Cleveland Cavaliers, JB Bickerstaff's old team. So will be interesting to see if some of the main guys, the starters, etc., end up playing maybe more minutes as they're trying to ramp up even more for the regular season, or they cut back their minutes and play less and less minutes, trying to rest before the regular season. Not really sure what direction they will turn for this last preseason game as far as that goes. Currently, the Pistons are 2-2. Not that it matters too much, but it would be nice to go into the regular season on a positive note, winning that last game against the Cavs, especially considering the way that this one went, losing by a total of 18 points. So let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you all watching. Again, this setup here is going to be temporary. Hopefully, the audio quality and everything in between is good enough for the time being. I'll catch up with y'all soon.